Hey, welcome. So, as an advisor, you've got this amazing toolbox, right? Full of incredible solutions for business owners. But have you ever felt like you're just talking to a brick wall? You see the problem so clearly, but the owner, they just don't seem ready to hear it. Well, today we're going to dive into that. We're unpacking a framework that's all about bridging that gap and learning how to meet business owners exactly where they are on their journey.
Okay, let's kick things off with a statement that it might sting a little. A solution has no inherent value. Whoa, that's a pretty bold claim, isn't it? I mean, our entire profession is built on providing valuable solutions. But the idea here is that a solution is only valuable if it solves a problem the client actually believes they have.
And that really tees up this central question for this entire explainer. If a solution is basically worthless without a recognized problem, then why do we as advisors so often lead with it? You know the drill. We walk in, playbook in hand, totally ready with our strategies and our answers, before we've even figured out if the owner is asking the right questions, or any questions at all.
This puts us right in the middle of what we can call the advisor's dilemma. It's that classic solution in search of a problem situation. We've got the perfect answer, the perfect plan, but we're trying to deliver it at completely the wrong time to a person who just isn't psychologically ready for it. And you know what that leads to, right? Frustration for everyone. And that brings us to this absolutely crucial realization. It is not a problem until the client says it is. It really doesn't matter how obvious the issue is to you with all your experience and your expertise. If the business owner doesn't see it, doesn't feel it, and doesn't own it as a problem for themselves, your solution, no matter how brilliant, is just going to fall on deaf ears.
So, how do we fix this disconnect? Well, the key is to get inside the owner's head. We can actually map their journey through three really distinct psychological stages. And if you can identify which stage an owner is in, you can completely tailor your approach and meet them where they are, instead of trying to drag them to where you think they should be.
So let's break this journey down. The three stages are exploring, pivoting, and triggering. You got to think of it as a progression, a natural flow. An owner doesn't just wake up one morning and decide to sell their company out of the blue. Nope, it's a journey, and each of these stages has its own unique mindset and its own set of needs. First up, you've got the exploring stage. Think of the owner at this point as being kind of spongy. They're curious, they're open to learning, they're asking all those what-if questions. What they want from you is information, insights, but they are absolutely not ready to commit significant time or money. Your job here is to be a resource, not a salesperson. So after exploring for a while, an owner might move into the pivoting stage. This is where things start to get real. Those abstract ideas from the exploring phase, they start becoming a lot more concrete. You'll hear them talking with a real forward-thinking, growth-oriented mindset. A rough timeline starts to form. They're thinking about their team, their personal finances. The commitment is really firming up. And finally, we get to the triggering stage. This is where some kind of specific event forces their hand. It might be a health scare, a surprise offer to buy the company, or maybe just pure, unfiltered burnout. You'll hear these big declarations like, "I'm selling," or "That's it, I'm done." There's a real sense of urgency you can feel. And now, finally, they are ready for your solutions.
Okay, so that makes sense, right? We've got exploring, pivoting, and triggering. But here's the million-dollar question. How can you really know which stage an owner is in? How do you avoid just making assumptions and truly get what's going on in their head?
Well, the answer is in a pretty fundamental shift in philosophy, a whole new approach. Let's call it connect before content. It's all about prioritizing the relationship, about understanding the person long before you even think about talking about strategies, products, or solutions.
The core idea is actually pretty simple, but it is so powerful. The mantra to remember is this: move off the solution, move to the owner. Your focus has to completely shift away from your own agenda, from your toolkit, and onto their world, their feelings, their fears, and their goals.
And this table really just lays it all out, doesn't it? The old way is all about us telling and us guessing. But this better way, the connect before content way, is about listening and truly seeking to understand. It's about asking great questions and, this is huge, no guessing. You just can't afford to guess when the stakes are this high. Now, to help you remember this mindset shift, there's this fantastic, kind of funny metaphor. Don't lick the marshmallow. Yeah, I know, it sounds a little weird, but just stick with me for a second, because this is a really powerful psychological concept.
So, the marshmallow is that immediate temptation to just jump in with a solution. You see a problem and you instantly want to offer your answer because, let's be honest, it feels good to be the expert. But when you do that, when you lick the marshmallow, you sacrifice that much bigger long-term reward, which is a deep, trusted relationship where your client feels genuinely heard.
So if we're not supposed to be leading with answers, what do we lead with? Well, that brings us to the single most powerful tool you have for connecting before content, the art of the question. This quote really says it all, doesn't it? To get great answers, you must ask great questions. Your job isn't to have all the answers locked and loaded. Your job is to ask the questions that nobody else is asking, the questions that unlock those aha moments for the owner themselves. You see, this means you need to completely reframe your role. You're not the answer provider anymore. You're the problem discoverer. You are a facilitator, a guide, helping the client on a journey to uncover and actually name their own challenges. Because when they name the problem, they own it. And that is the only time your solution becomes truly valuable. Now, why does all this matter? I mean, why go through all this trouble of connecting and questioning and diagnosing? Well, because it all leads to the ultimate payoff, creating a business that is truly ready for a transition. And you know, this is the bottom line. The most valuable businesses out there are the ones that are prepared for an exit well in advance. They aren't scrambling around when a trigger event happens. Nope, they've been thoughtfully built and de-risked over time, and that's what maximizes their value and their options. This patient owner-first approach, it does so much more than just win you a client. It builds that profound level of trust you need to do the really hard work of getting a business ready for its next chapter. It's how you go from being just another advisor to being their most trusted partner, period. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Think about one of your clients right now. Based on everything we just talked about, what stage are they really in? Are they exploring, pivoting, or triggering? And knowing that, how might it change your very next conversation with them? Thanks so much for joining me.